Okay, so in this little set of video tutorials, I'm going to walk you through the final few steps in completing your ITGS IA, which is basically just zipping everything up in the forms.zip archive so that you can submit to the IB. So, in order to get started, you want to be on the IA page on the ITGS course website. Scroll down to the bit that says Getting Started, and it says in the pink box, your IA must be submitted to the IBO in a standard format which you can see in this zip archive. Now if you click on that link, you will download a file called forms.zip. If you want to skip this step and just download that file, you can get to it here. So bit.ly/ITGS in all caps, forms in lowercase. That will download the file for you. So when you've downloaded forms.zip, you're going to want to open it up. Just going to hide some windows. So when you open it up, you've got a zip archive called forms, inside which is a folder called forms. I'm just going to drag that onto my desktop and close this. So we're going to open up this to begin with, and you can see inside here we've got two folders, one for documentation that has all of the templates in there, one for product which is empty, and then this cover page. So if we just open up the cover page, you can see in here that there are some things that you need to fill in. So anything in square brackets needs to be filled in. Anything that is set as just a bunch of X's you can leave alone. The IB doesn't want you putting your name or your school number on here. Again, if it happens to be somewhere in your documentation, please don't worry about it, but it can't be on your cover page. Okay? So, what we're going to do to begin with, before we go editing the cover page, is I have an IA right here, and I'm going to show you how to put everything that you need to submit where it is supposed to be. So at the moment, this is all of my stuff, and this is the forms folder that I'm going to end up submitting. So the first thing is to move your screencast just into the root folder alongside your cover page. That's fine. I'm then going to go into documentation and delete all of the templates because I don't need them. And I'm going to take these and drop them in. Now, I'm happy if you submit as Word documents. I'm happy if you submit as PDFs. It doesn't really matter. What does matter is that your links on your cover page work. So if you do submit as PDFs, make sure that those links point to PDF files. If you do submit as Word documents, make sure they point to Word. So that's the documentation folder all sorted. Inside product, I've got an easy job because this was a database product, so we've just got the access database, and then we've got resources. So inside there, there's a bunch of images that this student made to make his forms. So I'm just going to drag those in. And now the only thing I've got left to do to finish off my Criterion G is to edit the cover page. So I'm going to edit it with Notepad++, but you can use any text editor. Text edit on a Mac, or Notepad if you're using a proper computer. So in here, we can leave anything that is all X's. Where we've got project title, I'm going to put elementary school library database, because that's what it was. Candidate session number we can leave alone. Client name was my wife. Occupation, school librarian. Links to, and then we've got product. So what we want to do is put in a link. So ahref equals product slash, and then what is it called? Library stock database. I might actually just simplify that. Get rid of spaces. Get rid of capital letters. So just library stock, all in lowercase. Library stock.accdb, because that's the file extension for a database. Close that, and then close my hyperlink tag around product. So if I just hit Control S to save, you can see my little red icon has turned blue because it's saved it. And if I open up this cover page, I should now have a link to product, and when I click on it, do you want to open this? Open, and then it starts to open up the database. Okay? Now, because this is a database that has a password on it, I'm going to need to add some information for the examiner in this little box here. Before I do that, I'm just going to put my link to my screencast. So, in here, word wrap, there we go. So, href equals screencast.mp4, and then close my hyperlink. I'm going to press Ctrl S to save, refresh. So I've got product and now screencast.
This is my screencast to explain the purpose and functionality.
There we go. That's an extremely German young man. And then inside this little grey box, we've got directions. So directions to access the product. So in here, I'm going to get rid of all of this, because that was just filler text. To open the database, please use the password bold 1234. Control S to save. Go back in. There we go. So the examiner needs all of the information that they will require in order to get access to your product. You can also here put a link to a YouTube version of a video if you've got one, or put a link to the live version of your website. The more you can help the examiner find what you have done, the better a position you will be in. So the last thing that we need to, well, the last few things we need to change on this document are these links. So at the moment, that's pointing to Criterion A initial investigation.pdf, which is obviously not right because they're Word document. So we'll go back into Notepad++, and I'm going to change all of these, .docx, docx, all the way down. And then the last thing that I want to do with these is make absolutely certain that they all work. Because if you do have any broken links anywhere on your cover page, you will lose a mark. And you don't want to do that. So, Control S, back onto my cover page. Does that work? Yes, it does. Does that work? Yes. Does that work? Yes. Does that work? Yes. Does that work? Yes. 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 And yes. So all of those links now work. So the final thing that I need to add down here is my word count. And remember, the absolute maximum is 2,000. This student did 1,948. So when you've put that in there, Control S, go back in and have a look, make sure that's all there. Go away. Word count 1948. And do we need any other information on there? I don't think we do. So we can close that now. We can select all of these files, right click, send to, zipped folder. And then what would be helpful for me is if you just put your full name. So this was Leon Peters. ITGS IA. Something along those lines is just fine, so that I know exactly whose it is. And then get yourself onto Google Classroom and upload that zip archive. Now, if the zip archive is over 1 GB in size, please talk to either me or Mr. Bark so we can help you make it a little smaller. We can only submit files up to 1 GB. Other than that, I think you're pretty much covered for Criterion G. Good luck. If you have any questions over the weekend, drop either one of us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right?